fingers crossed for an over $400 price tag that this 3 Michelin star, best of the best vegan restaurant is worth the hype. We're gonna find out. Let's go.
We are currently running pretty late. Not pretty late. We're running 6 minutes late for our reservation at one of the nicest restaurants. I guess the actual nicest restaurant we've ever been to. Highest regarded restaurant we've ever been to. So always makes me feel a little tense. But on top of that, man, the chaos of getting here. The chaos of getting here, I think, is going to make the serenity of being there in that relaxed, spacious environment in the middle of one of, I think, the most congested city in the country is gonna be good.
Good evening from New York City.
We're Madison and Ivan, and today's Madventure is diving deep into the meal, the tasting menu, the bar tasting menu, because we're cheap, at 11 Madison Park.
This is a place that has not one, not two, 3 Michelin stars, a first for the both of us.
Highest Michelin rating you can have.
That's right.
It is rated one of the best in the world's 50 best restaurants in the entire world.
And the kicker, it's completely vegan. No meat, no dairy, but
expectations are high, and so is the price tag. Fingers crossed for an over $400 price tag that this 3 Michelin star, best of the best vegan restaurant is worth the hype. We're gonna find out. Let's go. Oh my gosh, you get inside and it's just beautiful. You've never seen a place with that much empty space in New York City. Like, it's fantastic.
Vaulted ceilings.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in this massive stadium.
It is a beautiful place to be. And then you sit down, they bring us our cocktails, and they're so inventive.
What are you doing? Oh my god. Can't take him anywhere.
So the first thing they bring us is this tea, this Sumac tea. And I'm just kind of buying it. He's like, oh yeah, compliments of the house, the Sumac tea. And we're like, cool. Like, this is a pretty expensive restaurant. Like, my first course is tea. And then you sip the tea. And it's like, what did I just have? How is this vegan? Because the rich heartiness, the thickness of the tea, the umami that it captured, the just insane flavors going off. It's fresh, it's rich, it's hearty, it's
a little bit spicy.
A little bit spicy, yeah. A little bit light. It's just it's heavy and light. It's contradicting itself. It's so delicious. And that's when I know that we're off to a good start. It's gonna be a good day.
The second course, bed of rice porridge, right? And then sheets overlap on top of each other like shingles into a square of mushroom. And then another layer on top of that of more mushrooms, thinly sliced, decoratively presented. And you take a bite, and the ginger instantly hits your palate, but not in the sharp way that ginger can, but more in this warm, inviting flavor. And then you get to the porridge, and this isn't an oatmeal we're talking about here. This is a salty, savory porridge. Fills your palate, gives this easy entrance for all the extra more umami. And I think umami is going to be a recurring theme.
Yeah.
Every item on the menu,
Yeah.
even the desserts,
Yeah.
so much umami. That's their secret sauce.
There are mushrooms in a lot of dishes tonight. I don't like mushrooms. I would eat these mushrooms every day for every meal and never complain. Delicious.
And they're
Next we had the Tonburi, which was their take on a caviar. They never said that, but it definitely looked like it was their take on a caviar, which is fun because back before 11 Madison Park was a vegan restaurant, it was known for its caviar. Honoring that, but completely changing it up and giving us this whole new dynamic that was absolutely delicious. The flavors in there were so good. The things that look like caviar themselves are made from seaweed.
And the way they reproduce that, the pop that you get, right, when you burst it,
Yeah.
and the juice kind of erupts and squirts out in your mouth. They managed to capture that that not just flavor, but that kind of experience, right?
Yeah.
They've managed to reproduce it pretty darn well. Paired with that like mustard seed sauce, and then the turnip with wasabi, with horseradish, and the Yukon potatoes.
Wasabi and horseradish, that's all you need to satisfy me.
Yeah.
Those are so good. Next, we get tofu that they made in partnership with the oldest tofu house in New York City, which is based in the Chinatown here in Manhattan. I get why it's the oldest in New York City. I get why it survived this long. It is phenomenal. And the tofu has this cumin sauce on top
Radish,
with collard greens and radish.
Yes. A tofu, it's not just any tofu, it's silken tofu. So it has like no resistance whatsoever on the fork.
Who thought of this? But
Yeah.
it's so phenomenal. The tofu's melting in your mouth. The collard greens are bringing in this like funky, good, fresh, fun flavor. Like, it's wild. Next, we get bok choy wrapped in seaweed with slices of white truffle on top. We've never actually had white truffle before. We have dreamed of the day that we will eat white truffle. And the crazy thing is, we had no idea this was coming, and both of our faces just light up when she says, with slices of white truffle on the top. Like, what?
When you have truffle,
It's usually
almost
black
always
truffle.
black truffle,
Yeah.
right? And there's a reason. Like we just learned through experience it for the first time that white truffle is a far like cleaner, more refined flavor in the sense that like it's not in your face with its like umami and truffleness. Like it's actually could be so subtle that in the wrong, in a stronger preparation, you just completely don't notice that the truffle is there.
Yeah.
So this dish, more on the delicate side, so you could really get the flavors. And the sauce they used, I don't know if you
I didn't
heard
mention
them.
the sauce, yeah.
The sauce also had white truffle infused in it, right? So you're getting it from the raw slices, but also the sauce. So that way it kind of accentuates it, brings it forward. But I will say white truffle, in my opinion, is the superior truffle.
Yeah, and it's one of those ingredients where when you're spending that much money on food, the truffle is where you see your money presented to you on the plate and you recognize it. Let me start dessert.
No, not yet. We still got
Oh
the
my
main
gosh,
course.
the best part!
The last savory course of the day, Maitake mushroom. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about two different types of mushrooms, thinly sliced and stacked on top of each other, almost like, think like dominoes, two types of mushroom, and then in between it was
Seitan.
Seitan. Again, another first. I have no idea what that is.
I think seitan is maybe supposed to sound similar to crouton because that's sort of the vibe, but more gluten-y. Like it's like a bread, a crispy bread, deliciousness, and it absorbs all of the flavors and some sort of sauce that was used with it. And like, Ivan was kind of eating the layers on themselves, which they are so good by themselves too. But I was taking bites of like all the types of mushroom and a seitan all in one. And like, whoa, with this mushroom cream sauce on the side, with pickled radish in it, like all together in one delicious, epic, flavorful bite.
And each bite, it has the crispy edges, so much juiciness in the middle. I cannot emphasize that seitan, the pure gluten goodness that was in between those layers. So good. And that soaked up all that flavor, but also like added its own like bready, crispy, textural element that like with the soft mushroom paired so well.
This dish was phenomenal. I think Ivan and I both agree that this was probably our favorite dish of the night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
But then, of course, we move on to what I'm always so excited about, dessert. So the first thing they bring out is 3 preparations of apple. So we have this ice cream with this applesauce underneath it. We have these little like apple donuts with apple compote inside. And then we have these compressed apples with like almost like an apple fruit roll-up over the edge. It looks sort of like a boiled egg that's been cut into. And all of it was so good. It was so fun to have like these 3 very different preparations. The ice cream was not overly sweet. The apple sauce that was underneath it was very dense in flavor and just
Tart.
delicious and tart. I
of
loved how tart it was. And then the apple little fruit roll up over the compressed apple, like that was so bizarre because it had some apple flavors that I'm used to for sure, but that's no ordinary apple. Like there was some savory to it. And then we finished off with the apple little donut fritter with the compote inside. It
My
was
favorite.
churro vibes. It
Yeah.
was just fantastic and
And
yummy
a
and
healthy,
fried. Yeah.
healthy amount of salt. You see all of these elements come together so nicely.
Yeah. And the apple, I don't know if they were doing this on purpose, but the apple dish, the donuts were on this like these hot black stones, and then the compressed apple was on the white ice. And I know that one of their signature dishes from before they went vegan was the savory black and white cookie. Definitely seemed like potentially an ode to their original as well.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
Honestly, like there's so much attention to detail in everything that is going on, right? From back in the kitchen to even the service that you're offered at the table.
Oh my gosh, speaking of, you know what we didn't mention?
Oh yeah, the bread.
The bread.
So good that the waitress saw us like enjoying it so much, she brought us over a second set of rolls of bread. It was basically like this croissant roll, but on the inside it was rather dense. It was almost like it came from this like fluffy center, little denser on the inner kind of core, and then nice and flaky and airy on the outside. So
But
you're
that's
like,
so much flavor
Yes,
to it too, and like
absolutely.
so
So
much
good.
good like flaky
And I would
salt
add-
on the outside.
butter, cream, like those are dairy products. Those were not included
Yeah.
in these croissants.
But this is one of the best croissants I've ever had, no
somehow
doubt.
they made that buttery, flaky texture and flavor.
Yeah. And then the butter that they brought out to have with it.
Yep.
Ivan was probably halfway through eating it when he was like, wait, I can't believe it's not butter. Like, that's the vibe though. Like, it was so good. And they had like this pumpkin seed flavor to it, like the salty savoriness of the pumpkin seed in this like sauce on top of the butter. Like, it was so amazing and creative and delicious.
Yeah.
But anyway, fast forward. So then we move on to our final dish. They bring out this coat hanger, and on the coat hanger are these pretzels, black on one side, a lighter brown on the other side, and they are dark chocolate and sesame. We love sesame. So this was so exciting. And then they bring out a drink that goes with it, their vermouth, right?
Yes, house-made vermouth. They, got bored, started experimenting, and came up with their own vermouth that they distill in the restaurant itself. And it paired so nicely with this sesame chocolate pretzel because it was quite bitter, right? Don't get me wrong, it was quite bitter. But when you typically associate like alcohol, like this bitter flavor with like the harsh, like kind of gasoline-y, like mouth
Yeah.
feel,
this had
that like
none of that.
harshness, none of that.
This was so smooth.
It was smooth as butter, but with that strong bitter flavor that helped really like cut the sweetness and creaminess of the sesame chocolate pretzel.
Oh my gosh, the pretzel itself. I liked them paired together, but I definitely like finished the vermouth so that I could just like finish on the pretzel. The pretzel also, I thought like, oh, a hard pretzel inside. No, it had like maybe this like slight soft pretzel going on inside, but the chocolate and the sesame flavors were really what was like ringing out the loudest and like just being fantastic and delicious. Like, oh, the sesame, like that was one of my other favorite dishes we had tonight was that chocolate sesame pretzel. It was so good.
It was a good finish for sure.
Was 11 Madison Park worth the hype?
It is definitely worth the hype.
What?
It's just so awesome to see people working at the top of their career, at the top performance that they possibly could, right? Like, I'm a carnivore. No meal is complete without meat. To see these masterful chefs put together this experience for us and really make me forget that I was not having any meat at all and not miss it for a second, that takes craftsmanship, that takes skill, that takes expertise, and just being able to like occasionally see that and experience that, I think is totally worth it in the grand scale of things.
I think I agree with you. I think that the hard thing is we've been to the 5th best in the world, Puyol, and it was cheaper for more courses, which did include meat. But we're not in Mexico City right now. We're in the most expensive city in the United States, so obviously the price is going to be more. So yeah, it's a little hard for me to justify, but it was so delicious. And yeah, I do agree with you. You are right. Like, for an occasional experience, spending this much, having a crazy multi-course meal, this was pretty phenomenal. This is a pretty good day, baby. Yeah.
Thanks for another great madventure.
That was such a fun experience. It's always so amazing to go have an experience like this every now and then. To treat yourself to a bougie dinner, feel bougie for a moment before you go back to your street food, which we're going to show you New York City's best street food in our next video, so be sure to check that out.
We have the full range, folks.
Yeah. We're gonna counteract the insane prices that we paid today with some street food to try to balance a little bit. Thanks so much for joining us for this madventure. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Join us on the next film.
Until next time,
Live your own madventure.
Hey, I remembered it this time.
Proud of you.